Hey, what's up guys? Joker here. Hope you're all doing well. Today is October 29th, and that means that Watch Dogs Legion is now available to the general public, and I wanted to talk today about some of the issues that I have been seeing with the performance and optimization of this game, which is absolutely horrendous. I uploaded a video a couple days ago of just some raw gameplay footage on max settings. You can do some stuff to tweak options, which I'll talk about a little bit more in depth. Full disclosure, I got the game about a week ago from NVIDIA. NVIDIA provided me a code for this game so that I could test things like ray tracing and DLSS or any other things I want to test on it really, or do a review of the game. Pretty much left up to me, but I was given the code by NVIDIA for full disclosure to you guys. So pretty much all I've done is to really test this game on an RTX 3080. I've played it for about 6 hours at this point. I'm actually enjoying the story quite a bit. And the gameplay, I like it. I like the previous two Watch Dogs game, and I'm enjoying this one so far. But the performance, or lack thereof, seriously has a long way to go. Did you just finish building a sweet gaming rig only to have this happen to you? Not to worry, because your CD Key has you covered with Windows 10 Pro licenses for under $18. And if you head over there right now, you could save 20% off with my code JPD20 at checkout. You'll receive your key within seconds, and then just click the start button and type activate to find the Windows activation screen, and all you gotta do then is paste your code in. For more info as well as that coupon code, be sure to check out the links down in the description below. So as I said at the start there, I am playing on an RTX 3080. I have an i9-9900K locked at 4.8 gigahertz on all cores. My 3080 is a Founders Edition card. It's overclocked, and I game on a 4K 120 hertz monitor. So, going into it 4K, pretty demanding, but I'm running, the latest flagship card from NVIDIA, the 3080, which is an absolute beast of a card. Up until now, it's handled everything I threw at it in 4K very, very well. But this game has some terrible optimization, because there are times in this game, like indoors areas run particularly well. I mean, I can get well over 100 frames per second sometimes in this game. Like in the very first mission, I was like, wow, this is running great. But then you get out into the open world, and it is a completely different ball of wax. The frame times in this game are all over the place. There are sometimes just sudden gigantic spikes, which will grind the game to a halt for like a complete second or two at times. But, for the most part, the frame times are still kind of all over the place, especially though in DirectX 12, which you're seeing right now. The frame times are just all over the place. And, even worse than that is, for some reason, when you're driving around the city, rather fast, the GPU usage will just plummet. Like running on a 4K display with all of the graphics and everything turned up, and VSync off, the graphics card should be running about 98, 99% utilization all the time, unless you're running into a CPU bottleneck, which I severely doubt is the issue here, as the CPU stays anywhere from 40 to 70% usage roughly, and it's a 9900K. It's an 8-core, 16-threaded Intel CPU at 4.8. I really don't see the CPU being a limitation here. In this game, it seems to really more so be an optimization issue, either from Ubisoft's side of the things with the engine, or maybe hopefully it's something they could fix with a patch further down the road. Sadly, the Game Ready driver, which came out today, all of the gameplay you're seeing here was done on the Game Ready driver, which is numbered, let me check, 457.09. So all the gameplay footage you're watching right now, I captured this morning after the Game Ready driver came out, because some of my concerns for the last week is that maybe the issues I was seeing were because there was not a Game Ready driver. We did not have a Game Ready driver for the full week of testing that, we had available to us. So, I was really hoping that a Game Ready driver might fix that, but it's not the case. It did absolutely nothing from what I can tell. So yeah, performance is a little tough. Maxed out, it's not going to happen. You really got to get in there and tweak some options. Things like the environmental detail, shadows, and reflections are some of the major ones that you can tweak. And honestly, I'm not really noticing a huge visual degradation. The environmental detail is a pretty big FPS hit, because that kind of has a bunch of effects kind of bundled into it, and some of it is like the clouds and the fog, that type of thing, which are known to run really bad. in recent years on Ubisoft titles like Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Origins and all of that. So that's definitely some things that you can go and get in there and tweak to get the game running better. I had hopes that maybe just switching on DLSS, which I'll switch to now here on the gameplay, would boost the performance, and it does edge up the performance a little bit, but nothing anywhere near as drastic as what we have seen in some other titles like Death Stranding, which almost doubles the frame rate more or less. In this game, it doesn't do a whole lot, and it actually makes the game run worse in a way, because the frame times, as I mentioned, which were already an issue, become even worse with DLSS enabled. There's something going on there as well. When enabling DLSS, the frame times get horrendously bad, especially when you're driving through areas of the city, very, very rapidly. Walking around on foot, you really don't see it so much. If you're walking around on foot or in combat, it doesn't really seem to be that prevalent. It's really only when you're driving around the city, which in an open world game, you're going to be doing most of the time, to be honest. So that is definitely a major concern here with the performance on this title, and it's something that you guys should be aware of before you go out and spend $60 to $100 on this game if you get your Ultimate Edition, Season Pass, and all of that stuff. So yeah, the DLSS is not like a saving grace here for the performance in this game, and it's a very poor implementation of it. And maybe that's, I don't know if it's Ubisoft there or Nvidia. I don't know. But I do know that it's a software problem somewhere in the pipeline. There is a software issue that is resulting in this game not running particularly well. So you could play native at 4K, which this was done at, or you could try using DLSS. But what I actually found to be better was to use the temporal upscaling that's built into the game, dropping it down to like 90% or 85% you can do as well, and it really didn't look that different to me than native 4K. Still looked very good, and that gave me a nice bump in performance. And sometimes I'll still see the GPU usage will drop down off of 99%, but it's a lot better than using DLSS, where sometimes the GPU usage was like 60%, 70%, really, really bad. Where, as I said before, it should be pinned almost at 99% if the game was leveraging the GPU properly, but that's just not the case. And I told NVIDIA about this, like pretty much the day that I started testing on it. I told them about it. They got me in touch with some of the Ubisoft engineers, and I gave them information about the system I'm using. I even gave them some unlisted video clips to show them the frame time issues and the low GPU usage. And, it's been less than a week, so all I can tell you is that they're aware of the issue, but it's not been resolved yet. And I do hope that, them seeing this and the information I provided them so far will help, fix the game at some point further on down the road. But right now, just based on performance, this game is not a really big recommendation for me. Although I've enjoyed the game, and I can tweak the options to get it to run properly, but, I really shouldn't have to do that on the brand new RTX 3080 in this game, which, got delayed since March till now, and the game just feels like it should be running a lot better, because when the GPU is actually getting fully leveraged, the game runs very well. I mean, it's a taxing game. It's very demanding. The game looks beautiful. But the fact is that the GPU is sitting there like 70% usage, and I'm like, just use the other 30%, and I would probably be getting a respectable frame rate, and the frame times wouldn't be all over the place, making it feel very stuttery and unsmooth. And I did, try messing around with DirectX 11 and DirectX 12. DirectX 11, for me, definitely ran smoother. The frame times seemed to be a lot better in DirectX 11 versus DirectX 12, so that's another thing you can kind of do to get the game running smoother is DirectX 11, and you can still use DLSS in DirectX 11, but the same issues that I saw on DX12 are still there. So I would still recommend, if it's not running at your native resolution properly, get in there and tweak the options, work around with the temporal upscaling thing at the bottom in the graphics options. Try using that instead as opposed to DLSS. The game does have ray tracing, which you could technically use if you enjoy a cinematic gaming experience at 24 frames per second. So yeah, no surprises there. If the game's not already running well without ray tracing, it's certainly not going to run great with ray tracing. None of this footage you are seeing is using ray tracing. None of the footage I posted the other day was using ray tracing at all. So yeah, don't use ray tracing because it's not going to run any better. It's definitely not going to help your case. But I can say that DX11 does seem to be better, and you know, the built-in benchmark for this game, it seems to be like a nice tool, and it gives you a lot of data. But it's not very realistic to what you're going to see playing the game, because it's kind of going through a very small closed area, which, you know, as I've been saying, is kind of runs pretty well in those areas. It's really only when you're driving around the city, and it seems to be like loading in and streaming in a lot of new textures and objects and stuff like that, where some of these big performance issues happen, and there's a lot of stuff going on screen. So the benchmark, which, you know, on the surface may seem good, it's not representative of actual gameplay. It's just not. It's not. You're not going to see a scene like that really playing the game. At least from what I've seen so far. It's mostly issues with driving around in the game world, which you will be doing quite a lot in a driving-focused, open-world, you know, crime game. So that is all of the information that I have got for you for now. Again, really just to summarize, I was hoping that today's Game Ready driver was going to resolve these issues. It did not. The game still does not run particularly well, although you can tweak some options to be able to get it to run over 60 frames per second the vast majority of the time, even at 4K on an RTX 3080. Granted, I found the best experience for me was to drop down the resolution slider to about 90% is what I'm keeping it at. 85% is going to get you even a little bit more performance, and the GPU usage won't drop as much as it does when using something like DLSS, although you're still going to see your GPU usage come off from time to time, which is just like ultimate like sad face emoji, because you just want your GPU to be fully utilized and leveraged to its capabilities, and that's just not what is happening here. So sadly, yeah, the performance needs to improve. I hope we do get a optimization patch in the coming weeks from Ubisoft. If we do, I will definitely test it and update you guys on what I'm seeing with the performance. And also, if there's another NVIDIA driver that comes out that also can possibly improve the performance, that would be great to see as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed this video or found it informative in some way. If you did, leave a thumbs up on it, subscribe if you're not already, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow for another video. Ciao.